YouTube, what's going on? We are back with another mock draft simulation, and this time we're talking Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker's back. They're going to try to run it back. Let's see what we can do with 7 picks in this draft to try to help improve an already playoff team. And as always, if you like the video, we'd love you to like the video. Subscribe, hit the notification icon. You stay up to date with our live streams, short profiles. Let's get to it. With all that being said, and we don't all obviously have all the specifications as to how the Baker deal affects the cap. We know Baker's deal is 3 years, $100 million, $50 million guaranteed with a potential of $115 million with incentives. The Bucs had about 22-ish million. That's before Baker's deal, it looks like. So with that all being said, I don't know how much they're going to have to spend in free agency. Now, obviously, this video will drop. Free agency frenzy's hot and heavy at this point in time, but we haven't heard a lot about the Bucs at this point. What we do know is this is a playoff team. They brought back the big names, all the guys that helped get them there. They do have some notable free agents, Devin White, Levante David, Ryan Nielsen, some defensive guys that have been role players for them and had some significant roles in the last few years. But what we're looking at here in these first few picks, is how can we get some guys that can start for us? How can we get guys that can help us get to the next level? Looking here at just even these top kind of 4 guys, A.D. Mitchell would be great, but they've got good receivers. So that's not necessarily the largest need and best player in that situation. This team could use some protection. I know their interior offensive line was one of the areas that I pointed out when I was kind of doing my pre-draft simulator prep. So I'm going to go Graham Barton. I know it's, at least based on this, it's a little bit of a reach, but it's not a bad pick because this guy could start for you immediately and is a solid, rock solid interior offensive lineman. Next up is pick 56, and you see kind of what's here on the board. Michael Penix being here would be a really interesting question for Bucs fans. Do we take a guy that obviously has some injury concerns, but has a big arm that could be your guy for the future if Baker really is only on a 3-year deal? That is a really interesting concern for me, is what would they do here if the board was sitting like this? I'm going to keep taking Jr. Coulson because linebacker is a need, but if you've watched any of our other draft simulators, I've taken Jr. Coulson kind of in this spot. Mid to late second round and back is a perfect spot for a guy like that. For a team that needs linebacker, he's a perfect fit. He's great in coverage. This guy's got some ability to, it can be an attacker if you want to try to use him across different roles in this defense. I love the pick here, and I think he'd be a huge improvement to this defense, the middle of this defense. All right, their third pick in the top 100, and this would be a really tough situation depending on how they value these guys on their board. You're looking at, obviously, Nealand is an interesting edge prospect that I think could be fun in this defense, but they have solid edge rushers. So do you just continue to add? Because they always say you never have enough edge rushers, but then they can use safety help. You've got Javon Bullard sitting there. They could use some running back depth behind Rashad White. You got Trey Benson and probably my favorite running back in this class, Jonathan Brooks. You have Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Do you double up on linebackers? Do you grab some wide receiver depth? I mean, if you look a little bit further down, we've got Kalen Bullock from USC. You've got Braylon Allen from Wisconsin. Depending on the type of running back you're looking for, I mean, this is a really fun spot to try to grab one. I don't necessarily think that is the biggest need and best position here. So I'm going to go Javon Bullard from Georgia. Winning player that's come from a really strong defense that I think fits well with the type of defense that they run in Tampa. Could be really nice to just kind of slot in there just in case something doesn't get done with Ryan Neal. I like the pick for them. All right, at pick 124, we're hitting the cusp of guys that are more developmental depth, but then you see Zach Zinter sitting here, and that guy I think is a top 100 player. So him here at 124 is really surprising to me. We've taken safety, we've taken interior offensive line. We could use some help at linebacker, continue to use some help at linebacker, could use some depth at running back, at wide receiver. We could look at corner, and I think that's the direction we're going to go because our secondary continues to need a little bit of extra attention and depth. So give me Kyrie Jackson here from Oregon. I think he fits well in this defense. And the thing I love the most about Jackson, the former 4-star prospect, is his physicality. I think the type of defense that they run, big physical corners, you just don't see a lot of them come into the league, and a guy like Jackson I think really could be a special piece to this defense. Now, he doesn't have to step in and be an immediate starter from day one, but he certainly could push for that, and I think the guy has potential for top 100 draft status once we get to the draft. At this point in the draft, now we're looking for guys with upside, with tools and traits that we think could develop into pieces for us in the future. Obviously, we need depth across the board in various positions in the offense or the defense. We could use some running back help, some tight end help. We could use some linebacker help. We could use some quarterback depth. I know they've got Baker and Kyle Trask, but Joe Milton sitting here at 174 is just too hard to pass up. When you watch him at the combine just throw 60, 70 yards with ease, I mean, that's really intriguing. Plus the mobility. I'm going to take him and see what happens, and why not at this point in the draft? Huge unknown moving to the next level. Can he help in the future? Maybe. That arm is certainly worth giving the shot at, and especially at pick 200. All right, now 220. We are getting later in the draft. It's getting near the end, but there's plenty of potential sitting around here. They could go for edge help. They could go for some running back help. There's plenty of guys with some traits that could be intriguing that a team would want to roster. I'm going to go running back here. At this point, taking running back, I'm going to lean on Frank Gore Jr. I don't think he falls this far. He's really nice out of the backfield pass catcher. I think if you saw teams flex him out into the slot some at the next level, I would not be surprised in the least. I think this guy brings a decent size speed combination, and you have Rachaad White, who can do that, can be between the tackles guy. You don't have to rely on Frank Gore to be one or the other. I think you could use him in a variety of roles, and I think that really helps what this offense is trying to become as they move forward. All right, for our final pick, we're just going to take a stab at a guy from a winning program in a position where we could use some depth with potential to rotate in on passing downs. We're going to go Braiden McGregor from Michigan. Maybe not the most elite athlete, but this former four-star prospect brings a good size, 6'5", over 257. He could play end in this defense and really give them another guy to help sub in there when they need some sub package players. He got enough speed and burst to get off the line and be a force in the backfield if need be. So take him, lock this up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. We'll talk to you again soon.